Everybody, it's Dr. Eric Balcash. We're back for another edition of Thyroid Thursday, and today we're on number 4, reason why you might struggle to get well and what to do about it. Well, today we're going to talk about one of the big things that I see as problematic, especially in functional medicine, and that is that you or your doctor thinks the problem is just a deficiency of cofactors. And so, great example in thyroid world, a lot of times people are told that the reason their T4 is normal and their T3 is low is because they have a deficiency of cofactors. Maybe they're selenium deficient or zinc deficient. Maybe they're told that they have an iron deficiency because their iron's low, and so they need a lot of iron supplementation on a regular basis. Maybe they're told that their vitamin D is low and they just need to take more vitamin D because somebody's always checking their 25 OHD. If you're been told this and you're taking your selenium and you're taking your zinc and you're taking your magnesium, you're taking your vitamin D, and you're still deficient, at some point we have to start asking better questions. When we think about thyroid physiology as an example and somebody says, well, the reason you have reduced T4 to T3 conversion is because your selenium's deficient. Well, is that possible? Yes, it's possible. But if T4 is sufficient and reverse T3 is normal or elevated, then it can't be a selenium deficiency because you need selenium for the conversion of T4 to reverse T3. So that can't be it. And so here are some things that we need to consider. And the number one thing to consider is that you need to start asking better questions. If you have a individual micronutrient that's deficient, great, take it. You shouldn't need to take it that long. And if it's just a short-term deficiency and it's only one micronutrient, great, take that micronutrient, you fill up the bucket, and then you should be able to wean off of it. But if you've been taking vitamin D and you've been taking it for a while, you're still deficient, or every time you go off of it, you wind up you're deficient, and you have to always be taking it to maintain a certain level, then something's wrong. And this is where we need to start really asking some better questions. So here's some questions that you might ask. Am I just deficient in one micronutrient? Is it just selenium? Is it just magnesium? Is it just vitamin D? Is it just one nutrient, micronutrient, or is there a pattern of multiple micronutrients that are deficient? That's what somebody needs. When somebody needs to look at a good comprehensive blood chemistry panel to kind of give you an idea of that, if that's the case. Is it the quality of the food? So if you're micronutrient deficient and there's lots of micronutrients you're deficient in, it could be the quality of food you're eating. If you eat really poor quality food, then maybe it's the quality of the food you're getting, right? But if you're eating higher quality food on a regular basis, then it's probably not a food issue. Maybe it's something else. So the next question we might ask, is this a person who has poor digestion? They're eating on the run all the time. They have low stomach acid. They have poor bile physiology. They have low digestive enzyme output. They've got some aspect of their digestive capacity is problematic, where they can't break down the foods appropriately to get the micronutrients out of the food and into the body. The next thing to consider is it an absorption issue? Maybe the person is able to digest it, break the food down into micronutrients, but there's some problem with the absorption of those nutrients. Maybe there's bacterial dysbiosis in the bowel. Maybe there's leaky gut issues. Maybe there's inflammatory mechanisms. Maybe they have diarrhea or extreme constipation. Like maybe there's something going on that's inhibiting the absorption, and that's why there's multiple micronutrients that are deficient versus maybe just one. Is it an increased loss due to urinating it out? So you could eat good food, and if there's malabsorption issues, maybe you have diarrhea, you may be just losing your micronutrients right through your stool. But could you be absorbing micronutrients and then just peeing them out really quickly, maybe due to excessive water consumption? Or maybe there's adrenal issues, so you're losing something like magnesium and sodium on a consistent basis. Things to be evaluated better. Is it possibly that something you're deficient in is because your body is consuming it really quickly? High stress tends to cause a lot of consumption and excretion of magnesium. So could that be the issue? 7, am I just not having that micronutrient tested appropriately? That's, I think, a really common one. And so when we think about vitamin D, typically what gets measured is 25 OHD. That's the circulating storage form of vitamin D. But the form of vitamin D that does most of the work is 125 OHD. Is it that I'm truly deficient 25 vitamin D, or am I over converting that vitamin D to the activated form, 125 vitamin D. And it's that elevated 125 vitamin D that's actually suppressing the production of 25-OHD. Could be. Could your 25-OHD be potentially low because you're magnesium deficiency? It could be. Is your 25-OHD look deficient because you have a lot of excess body fat and that 25-OHD is going into your body fat mass? That's where it's going. It could be. Could it be that because you have an inflammatory process going on, that 25-OHD is being deactivated to 24-25-OHD? Could be, but we don't measure that. And so many times, I think what happens is we're not testing and interpreting labs appropriately. And so we make false assumptions. Another example is serum iron. So a lot of people are put on iron supplements because they're told they're iron deficient. But were you tested appropriately? And they'll say, well, my doctor said my iron was low, my ferritin was low. Well, okay, maybe the range that they're using to interpret ferritin is inappropriate. It's not accurate. Is it possible that there is something that those labs that you're getting done aren't not only being measured appropriately, but maybe interpreted inappropriately? And I think that's a good possibility as well. And so if you are struggling to get well and your doctor's told you that the reason that you have some problems is because you just have micronutrient deficiencies and you need to take a bunch of supplements and you're still not feeling well, then the problem is not that you just have deficiency in cofactors. The problem is bigger than that. And the question that needs to be asked next is, if you're deficient in cofactors and you're taking them on a consistent basis and your labs don't improve and or you don't improve, then the micronutrient deficiencies that somebody's seeing or detecting is probably a symptom and not the real issue. How do we evaluate and determine what the real issue is? These things. You might need a different person to look at and assess your labs to be able to give you a better answer and a better example. But it's usually not just you need lots and lots of supplements taken on a daily consistent basis. That's not root cause medicine. That is just management with supplements. And really what we should be doing in functional medicine is trying to identify the root cause. All right. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, write your questions below wherever you watch the video and stay tuned for the rest of the series. All right. Take care.